So first point in the cycle, right at the top, have some sort of a plan. Where am I going next year, next semester, university, job? What do I need to achieve? And when it's in high school, probably if you look too far, you go, no idea. But what you might know is I want to try keep my options open to get into whatever I want at uni. So I might need to do specialist maths if I'm thinking of doing engineering or aviation. Not looking at anyone in particular. So if you know you're going to need maths, then at least you know what you're going to have to do. And if you want to keep your options open to go into medicine or law or all the rest of it, you know what sort of results you're going to perhaps need to get into those things. So then you can work backwards and say, okay, how much work do I need to be doing on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis in order to get to that point? Next part, and this is probably the thing that we do the worst, is to actually sit down and plan what are we going to do at what time during the week in order to get all those things done. And if you actually try and fit everything in without doing that, then you just go, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time for anything. Sorry guys, I can't come to the movies, I don't have time for a life anymore because now it's year 12 and I've got to study all night, every night, or else I'm going to fail. That's because you haven't sat down and said, all right, let's look at what time we've got and then fit everything into that time. I think we've got another slide coming up on this, so I'll skip ahead a little bit. Next thing is you've got to actually implement that plan, and that means using the right tools, having access to somebody to help get you unstuck, all those kinds of things. So you need to have a plan to know what you're going to do with all those sorts of things. But then you've got to actually on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, implement your plan, execute properly so that you can then keep going and actually get the results. That's the bit that actually does stuff. Next one, regular follow-up. So at the end of the week, you go, okay, just have a look back at your plan and go, did I do everything I said I was going to do or not? And if you did and it still doesn't feel good, then maybe you need to change the plan. Or if you couldn't go to the movies on Tuesday and you want to do that from now on, then you change your plan. Or if you had something that came up and you know that's going to always, say you said, I'm going to do study every morning 7 till 7:30. And then every morning you wake up at 7:30 and go, oh, I missed it today. Maybe you don't leave that as the plan for next week. You change it a little bit and reinvent your plan so that you can actually do it next time. The last one, some sort of monitoring and accountability. So this might just be your tests, but it might be, okay, I'm going to get a certain result, and then you look back and see whether or not you actually achieved the things that you wanted to achieve. And if your teachers aren't already doing this and helping you report back semi-regularly on how well you're doing, you probably need to set up something with a friend or a parent and say, oh, let's sit down and talk about where I'm up to so that I can actually make sure I stay on track. So, first step, the long-term plan as the Cheshire Cat. Who's seen Alice in Wonderland, the book, the original? Chris, you have, okay. So the Cheshire Cat, Alice comes up to the Cheshire Cat and she says, please Mr. Cat, can you tell me which way I need to go? Stop me if you've heard it. And the Cheshire Cat says, well, that depends very much on where you'd like to go. And she says, I don't mind much where I end up. So the cat says, then it doesn't matter which way you go. So that's the whole point of having a plan. If you don't know where you want to go, then it doesn't matter what you do, and therefore you just kind of cruise through school and figure it out as you go. So that might just mean I want to get A's so that I keep my options open in uni, or whatever it is, whatever your long-term plan is, but at least think about it. Because if you don't think about it, then it just happens to you. What does success look like? So you've got to ask yourself this question, otherwise you never know, you never get a chance to celebrate the fact that you've achieved what you wanted to achieve. If you have a vision of success, and you know what that would mean for you if you actually achieved it, so yes, I can get into that subject, yes, I'm going to go on, I'm going to be a doctor, all the rest of it, whatever it is. Then when you achieve it, you know what you've done. And it also means you can set some goals about what you actually, how much work you actually have to do, what are the steps along the way to reach that. And there's lots of other information about setting goals. This is just a brief thing, and I don't think you should try and go into too much of the trickiness of understanding all about long-term planning and all the rest. All you need to do is have a think about it. If the most you did was write down, I want to achieve by the end of this year is 2 things, a bit like your New Year's resolutions, then at least you've got them written down and something you're aiming towards. Your weekly plan. This is the most common thing that people say. Didn't have enough time, couldn't do it. Or truth is, you didn't plan it to happen, so it never happened. There's finite hours in a week, but there's plenty of time to fit everything in. So it's easy to feel like your maths and your physics is getting in the way of your life. Say on a Saturday you've got 2 hours of work to do. If you wake up and you do it 8 till 10, then you've got 10 till 10, 12 hours left in the day to do all sorts of other things. So this is the template we use, and if you want this, then make sure you give us your email before you go, and we'll just send you a copy. But it's a simple sort of process. We basically say, okay, let's have a look at every day. Every day I'm going to wake up and go to bed at a certain time. Let's work out how many hours there are, how many minutes in the day. Take out all the time for meals and for travelling to and from school and for tennis or cricket or hockey or cello or music or whatever it is that you do, and then see how many minutes you've got left in each day. And you list down the side all of the things that you know you've got to fit into the week, and have a think about how much time you need to spend on each one of those to achieve what you want to achieve. And at year 12 time, you're probably being told by your teachers that you need to spend 2 or 3 hours a week on each subject. So it doesn't turn out to be, how many subjects do you do in year 12 these days? 5 subjects? 6? 5 or 6? So it works out about 15 or 20 hours a week, which is not ridiculous if you start mapping it in. So there's plenty of time to fit everything in if you're careful about when you do it. And we've managed to, most of the time, fit it all in from Monday to Thursday and a little bit on the weekend. So you end up with Friday all free and all of Saturday free, and then you have to study a bit on Sunday. But if you're careful, you can set it up like that so that when you do have time off, guilt-free, fun, celebrate, hey, I've done everything, and then still go back on Monday morning smug in the knowledge that you've done all your homework and you understand everything that's going on. So I strongly recommend doing something like this, and you can have this one for free, or you can just do it, write it down, whatever it is, do something. Lots of words on the screen. Motivation is kind of important. You need a way to get yourself motivated. So usually at high school, if you don't have a tutor or somebody else or a guru, you need a group of friends who are also motivated. So hopefully you've got somebody in your group of friends who you can talk to, bounce ideas off of how to do things, and hey, have you started this, all the rest of it. With MyGuru, you end up having somebody call you on a day-to-day basis or SMS, hey, you ready to get going, what are we working on today, these sorts of things. Make sure you're always on track. If you're stuck, what do? You need to make sure you know what your options are and have a think about it. And if you don't have anybody, then that's a problem. You should probably talk to your parents or your brothers or your sisters, or find someone at school, or even better yet, get a guru. Let's keep going. Following up. So if you get in a taxi, this is my analogy, if you get in a taxi, tell them where to go, and then they say, yes, I know where that is, and then you sit down and you read a book and you never look up again. Then when you look up, they could be anywhere. If you never look to see if they're going in the right direction, you can't really complain if they're not. And if you don't look at all until they get to totally the wrong place, then you're completely buggered and you've got to have to go around and go somewhere else. So it's exactly the same with your study and with everything else that you do. If you never look back and say, hey, am I still going the right way, then just like the cat said, you could end up anywhere. If you don't care, then that's fine. But at least make sure you're still on the right track. And the way we like to do it is having a guru chat with you once a week and say, okay, let's have a chat about the previous week, see how things went, what do we need to change. So you've got that structure. And I suggest you find someone to do it with, whether it be a guru or a parent or a friend or whatever, to say, hey, how did we go last week? Did we do it or not? We've talked about this a lot already, but this is the accountability thing. Find somebody to set it up with so that you are going through, not just on a week-to-week basis, but some sort of way of testing whether or not you're on track. If it has to be a test, that's fine, but if you do a test, you need to go back and try and understand the things that you didn't understand and find a way to understand, to learn them, and make sure you stay on track. Okay. Any questions about those so far? No? All sound good? All make sense? Everyone happy? Need a glass of water?